following game session contains scenes of intense horror, graphic violence, adult themes, and other content that may not be suitable for all audiences. Probably a lot of audiences. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, I hit the wrong button, so we had a little bit of a delay, but it's all right. We are now live here on Myth Brigade for the first in a very short series of sessions for our horror short series using Savage Worlds.
We can't hear you.
I would like to say,
we can't hear you.
You can hear me.
Now we can.
That's weird.
Heard that.
You said you can't hear me, but you can. All right. I think that was probably noise cancellation on your side.
All of us?
Yeah, it was a shared. It was a shared noise cancellation.
It's not just noise.
Yeah,
You gotta pay a lot for that functionality.
There's so much more than noise, Jason.
Anyway, processor optimization aside, audio hardware issues, we're still here live on Myth Brigade. We are playing the first in a series of maybe 2 to 3 sessions. It's our horror shorts series. So not one shots, because I don't like to play for 4 or 5 hours on a weeknight. It's 1 to 3 shots. So we're here with our players. I want to say hi to these fine folks, starting at the very top of the overlay. Mike, what's up, man?
Hey, man. How's it going?
It's going. It's going awfully well. It's going awfully well. I'm happy to be here, despite all these delays that we've had as well. So,
yeah, for sure.
What are you doing? What have you been up to?
Not a whole lot. Work is work. We just got done with our Extra Life charity stream. This was our 6th year in a row. We raised a little bit over $5,000. What was the grand total, Jordan? Something like $29,000 over the last 6 years.
That's pretty awesome.
That sounds right.
Yeah. It was an absolute blast. Actually, we streamed Friday and Saturday night. Did Edge of the Galaxy, I think is what it is. Star Wars
Edge of the Empire.
Age of the Empire. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Absolute blast.
Nice. That's a lot of money to be raised, and we're happy you're here. And guys, Mike is also Nate on our Savage Worlds Deadlands campaign, as well as Frank in our one and only cult stream. So if you go back and watch that, you get to see Mike in action. We're happy you're here. Yeah. Hey man, why do you like horror? Why are you here? What scares you about horror? What do you like?
I don't know. I think what's interesting to me about horror is that it's different for every person, right? For example, I can't stand the Tower of Terror. My daughter won't let me leave Hollywood Studios unless we ride it together, right? And so everybody gets to have their own unique adventure as part of this campaign. And we each get to play to those strengths and weaknesses individually. And it's not that everybody's always afraid of the man in the closet. There could be something internal, like with Colt and some of the things that Frank was seeing and some of the things that sort of happened to him. So I'm really excited to get back into that sort of mindset and play up on those personalized fears.
That is amazing. Awesome. So next up is Tara. So Tara is playing in our Vampire the Masquerade campaign. She's a long time member of Rogue Cthulhu, and is also played in our Knights Black Agents campaign, where we were probably trying to kill our current character. So, Tara, how are you doing? What have you been up to?
I decapitated Dracula. Just
yes, so amazing.
I'm doing okay, other than my technological frustrations over here.
I would like to point out that you weren't the one that held us up. It was actually one of our technologists. It always is one of the technologists, but that's awesome. So what about you? What do you love about horror? Why are you here? Why do you show up to games like this? How can I scare you?
That's a great question. I like being able to pull some of my dark side out and touch other people's dark sides, kind of, and know that it's kind of validate that that's part of the human condition. And I feel like in day-to-day life, exploring dark feelings and dark images in our mind is not really copacetic. So it's an avenue to let them out and give them detail, and sometimes often, I think, in my experience with you guys, we actually find some beauty in these dark scenarios. And bring it kind of full circle. And so I dig that.
Hell yeah. I love that. And what you're also saying is if you don't get to play these games, you might kill someone. Yeah.
I didn't say that it's therapy, but I'm not saying that it's not.
All right. So everyone be nice to Tara. Whatever character she plays gets to go first at all times. Dan Kaplan, how are you, man? I'm glad you made it. I'm glad you are here.
Yeah.
What's up? What have you been doing?
Here. Hey, I've been good. I've been working on predictive shipping algorithms. Which is to say, for me, the horror has already begun. So that's what I was doing up to like 5 minutes before I joined this call.
Nice.
Of course, for the Game Steward, which is the board game company I co-own.
Nice. And so what you're telling me right now is GPT-4 is happily monopolizing resources on your computers to take over, right? Is that what's
Absolutely.
happening? Yeah.
Absolutely. I can't wait for AI to take over everything, including my own game store. That would be fantastic.
That'd be awesome. As long as sales are up, who cares? So let me ask you this question. You have a unique take on horror and dark stuff. So why do you show up to games like this? What?
Well, man, I'm in for anything. I just love to role play and to take part in role playing with other people and share. And if we make each other laugh as well as cry and scream, then that's fantastic. That's just cathartic. It's a good thing.
Outstanding. Oh boy, here we go. Last but not least, the GM, I think it's called a GM in that game, of our Fallout campaign. Fantastic role player and altogether zany guy. We have Jordan Devereaux with us.
Hello.
What have you been up to?
It's me.
You better pause that before that copyright claim limit kicks.
Look, you've got like 30 good seconds till the DMCA takes in, okay? It's fine. What am I up to? Not much, hanging out. I did the fundraiser with Mike, and otherwise, I got a big Halloween hangover right now, so I'm super excited to be doing scary stuff still. Trying to finish all the scary movies that came out. I always do a big old movie marathon around this time, so super stoked to still do scary stuff. Although it's Christmas in my house, and I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, I was going to say there's some Christmas stuff behind you, it looks like.
Yeah, the living room is much worse. It's exploded.
That's awesome. Well, we can get some fake blood and spray it all over the Christmas decorations at it, like Silent Night, Deadly Night. Why do you show up for horror? What's your thing? How do I frighten you? If something tells me you just generally laugh at whatever horrible things came your way.
That's true. Comedy, definitely a coping mechanism, and my favorite outlet when I'm playing tabletop, honestly. Tabletop is an outlet for jokes. But all things aside, I like horror because it's a chance for you to explore in a safe space something that's like terrifying, right? Like, try to like mentally process like, all right, yes, I'm not personally in this situation, but I'm observing this situation happening. How do I feel about that? Given whatever's going on. So I like the safe space that horror movies and horror content kind of provide that are outside the real world.
That's awesome. I'm a similar. I think I'm similar. I prefer horror comedy, but also the more just low budget, grotesque, violent, awful, right? But yeah. It was my escape from reality as a kid, and it gave me my horrible sense of humor and my tolerance for gore as well. So what we're going to do tonight, everyone, is pick our characters. We're going to sort out bonds, and if we have time, we'll run our first scene, which is incredibly short. But it sets the stage. Worst case scenario, that becomes a preamble for next session. I wanted to keep tonight kind of tight and focused on two things: getting your characters, making sure you're comfortable with what's going on there, and talking a little bit about the rules, because Mike can attest, sometimes I tend to take a dark turn, and if I go a little too far, we need a relief valve so that I don't like have helicopters flying over my house because we're broadcasting this.
Can we make Bluebeard our safe word?
Bloombeard, I like it. Yeah. We'll all try to.
That'll work too.
What did you say? I didn't hear you.
Yes. Bluebeard.
It's Bluebeard.
As in Bluebeard
is?
Maybe I don't.
Oh, isn't it Bluebeard? Bluebeard is the.
It's a meme, isn't it? Like a gnarly.
It's a role playing game, but it's based specifically on it goes beyond horror. It gets into really activating, what's it called? Trauma.
Oh wow, yeah. That sounds fun.
particularly sexual trauma.
That sounds not so fun.
So if you're ever at Gen Con and you're looking for a 3 a.m. game, that's usually when Bluebeard's running.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd show up to this. Chris Hansen waiting right outside the game session to just like scoop people up and take them away. My goodness. All right, so we're not going to sponsor Bluebeard for this one. This is Savage Worlds, so let's talk just for 2 seconds about the system. So we're using Savage Worlds Adventure Edition because I wanted to see how it implements horror. Our obvious go-to for horror in the past has been, well, twofold, either Cult or Call of Cthulhu. The latter probably being very, very prominent in one of our GM's games, Byron's. Excuse me, I told you I ate fast. I'm going to be burping in the mic. So there are 2 resources we're going to be using. The Adventure Edition rules, which we'll talk a little bit through, and then the Horror Companion, which kind of implements some additional fear stuff and sanity stuff as well. Now you've got Byron activated in the chat talking about Bluebeard's Bride.
Oh,
We'll call that. I don't know what that is.
Trying to ignore Byron.
So in the Roll20, I'm going to introduce you to a couple of concepts. So first and foremost, you all know the turn order, and you probably are used to the way that Dungeons & Dragons implements its initiative, or some others that are just generally by agility or something like that. So here at the bottom deck, just in case you are messing around with it, because I realize players can mess with these. That's your action deck. So we're going to deal some cards. I'm going to deal those cards to turn order items, and then I'm going to count down, right? So this is be the same way every round of the game. It adds some randomization. There are also some cool edges that your characters may or may not have if you were playing a traditional Savage Worlds that allow you to manipulate initiative on the fly. Some of them allow you to just kind of like see someone else's turn, hold your action till later, all that kind of stuff. But tonight I wanted to use it as a countdown for who gets to pick the characters first. I feel like that's fair. We're going to start out with Mike. So Mike, for all of you, we have a handful of characters here that are all generally normal people. We've got Alex Hines. Let me see the easiest way to look at this. Oh my goodness, sorry guys, can I show you? Alex is a very young, very serious young lady who cares a lot about her studies and her future. You're all college students. I guess I should have mentioned that. So she's planning to be a doctor of internal medicine. So there's some other information, but I'm going to let it sit there. So obviously she would have some skills related to that pursuit. You have Billy Shaw. Billy started to going to East Texas University. She didn't know that being a journalist major was going to be so very dangerous. So she's a journalist, or at least an aspiring one. Sam Bricotto is gonna be really slow in loading. Oh my goodness. So Sam Bricotto, though I can't see his information, for some reason is actually a computer scientist. So he's studying computer science at East Texas University.
That'll be a stretch.
Yeah. And then Taylor Fairchild. So Taylor is an absolute fanatic gamer. She is essentially living around East Texas University on her parents' goodwill, but she wants to be a game designer. She wants to make her own massively multiplayer online role-playing game. So with that in mind, Mike, you get to pick your character first. Pick whichever one you would like, and then you'll get assigned that character. You'll be able to see his or her stats.
Awesome. I do like that they're all sort of like androgynous names, which is cool. So I assume we can gender bend a little bit if we need to.
I just don't care what you do. Yeah, you can swap it out.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm going to play Billy Shaw, the journalist.
Awesome. So Billy Shaw is not allowed to have a cane, though. You have a cane in the other game.
I do.
So I'm sorry. Good. Okay, let me make sure this works. So I'm going to assign Billy Shaw to you. Let me turn the music down a little bit, too. My goodness. It's blasting my ear. Mike, you should be able to, at this point, control and view the stats for Billy.
Sure can.
Okay. Yay. I don't necessarily think you'll need to move around in this particular scene, but all right.
Sure.
So that gets you your turn. Now, normally, just kind of throwing some rules shit out there. Just like a lot of other role-playing games, you have a move and you have an action. There are edges that you may have that might allow an extra action here or there, or an extra move or something like that. But in general, you'll hear me ask, are you sure you're done? That's just because I tend to try to move fast, and if you don't get a word in edgewise in. Next up is the lovely Tara, who got a 10 on the initiative, or on the action deck. What character struck your fancy? Sorry if it was Billy.
Was not Billy. The dude. What's his name?
Which dude? So there's Sam Brocato, and then there's Dylan Perez. Oh, I didn't mention Dylan. I'm sorry. So Dylan Perez is a championship wrestler. He's a jock. 100%. Yeah. Yep.
I think that's the one. Where did I?
Where'd you what? Oh, you look at it in the Roll20?
Yeah. So in the. There's only one guy. Dylan is the one I liked, but.
Oh, that's so weird. There's something going on with Brocato. So if you like Dylan, then Dylan's yours. Brocato isn't showing up properly for me either. But can you see his picture, though, at least? Ding, ding.
I can't see anything about Brocato.
No.
Brocato is the
Under the
IT
character.
specialist.
Yep. Sam Brocato. Something's going on there, but okay. So, Tara, you're going to take Dylan then?
Yeah.
All right. Let me make sure it is assigned to you because I always get that wrong. You should be able to move Dylan around at this point and view his character sheet. So a couple things, and I'll get to some of the things you'll discover on the character sheet here in a second, but next up in the turn order, come on, close for me. Oh, how did Jordan get to be third? Jordan?
I think, all right, so we got Dylan gone and we got Billy gone, right?
Correct.
Okay, I was thinking Taylor, the video game enthusiast,
Okay.
the aspiring video game designer.
I can't imagine why.
It's going to be great.
Nice. Okay. So you have Taylor. Let's make sure that you can control Taylor. Edited and controlled.
Taylor actually can't be controlled. She's a force of nature.
We're in trouble. It begins already. That's kind of the vibe, actually.
There we go.
Very cool. And last but not least, and this was random on purpose, and through no fault of mine, Dan, the cards dealt you last pick.
It's all good. Picking last is fine for me. But I will note, though, when I look at this, I can't see anyone's faces. All I see are these little, like, silhouette icons, and then King 10, 9, 2.
Yes, but if you look in the turn order, you mean, or in the field?
Yeah, in the turn order.
Wait a minute. Yeah, you should see the heads. Yeah, that's
I
fine.
just assumed
That's
that
normal.
it was anonymous on purpose.
Yeah, that's normal.
I can't see.
Okay, so
That's
it is
normal.
anonymous on purpose.
Yeah, so what I did
All
is
right.
I added, because I needed objects to give initiative to, I just added little pawns off to the side name for you guys. So
gotcha.
these things are what you're most interested in. The
Absolutely.
portraits.
I will go with Alex Hines, the preoccupied college person.
Nice. Okay. So you are going to be the med student, which is...
I'm a med student.
Yep. So make sure you can move her around.
Let's see.
Yay.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So you have chosen. What does that mean for the other? What is it? 2. So they're around. They'll take the role as NPCs. So a few things to think about on your character sheet. So if you open your character, first thing you should see, if you open the character from your journal, obviously is the character sheet. Let's talk through how the mechanic works, just at a very high level. Serve as a tutorial and also to remind myself of how this stupid game works. So, everybody got their character sheet open? Yeah?
Not yet.
Yes.
It's a race to the finish.
I can't even see my character sheet.
So if you go in the top right
I'm
of Roll20,
scrolling out.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you find you? So yeah, if you go...
Yeah, I
Okay,
got it.
Awesome. So top left, attributes. Things progress in Savage Worlds in the form of dice. So it's not just one die that you roll all the time. The die that is highlighted in each of those line items tells you how good your character is in that specific area. So it obviously progresses toward more options in terms of an outcome. If I ask you for a roll on a stat, you just tap the name for that attribute, and it will roll into the chat window, just like Roll20, blah blah blah. Pace in the middle of your character sheet. So pace basically tells you how many squares you can move, and then you can add a running die to that. If you to basically take a run action. So we'll talk about that in a moment, but something tells me you're going to be running a little bit. The running die adds a random number of squares to your move. So when you're running from the guy with the chainsaw, that's how that works. And what that represents is the chaos of running, obstacles, jumping over trash cans, whatever it may be. You are what is called a wild card. And what that means is that you get bennies, and you can take up to 3 wounds. Right? That's the biggest difference. The masses are considered extras. They cannot take 3 wounds. They only take 1, and they don't get bennies. What are bennies? So bennies are just similar to inspiration. You can use them to do a variety of things in game. You can re-roll. You can re-roll damage. You can soak damage in some cases. The way that combat works, speaking of damage, there are 2 types of combat. Obviously, there's sort of shooting range combat. You use a skill check to hit someone in any kind of range situation. It's either something like shooting or potentially athletics if you're throwing something at someone. The idea with the die system is you roll whatever die is listed in your skill that you're trying to use or your attribute, and you're trying to exceed 4. Hi, Thorg. What's up? So if you exceed 4, you succeed. If you the dice all explode, which you'll see happen automatically, if that happens, then you get an extra outcome. In most cases in combat, it's extra damage. So shooting, really simple. Throwing stuff, athletics, that's, you're trying to hit against 4, period. The target number in all rolls, with the exception of fighting and a couple others, is 4. Fighting with your fist, which is probably very common for these characters, since it's not like you're, superheroes or warriors or whatever. You make a fighting roll, or you can, in some cases, if you're kind of making an opposed strength roll, if you're grappling, you're trying to exceed your target's parry, which is listed right in the middle of the sheet next to pace. One thing about pace as well, just real quick, you'll see down at the bottom there's a little die next to beneath pace. If you click that, that's a running roll, and so it will actually give you. So if I were to click that, it would roll the dice on the table and ostensibly show us.
Those are really short runs.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I fell. Let's talk about the wild die. So you notice up top, if you scroll up in the chat just a little bit, there's a running roll that was made. You can't see it here. Sorry. Or not a running roll. There was all dice come across as 2. And so if you're trying to make a skill check, if you're trying to combat whatever, there's 2 rolls that are made. One's a D6 and the other one is your die code. Should have mentioned that earlier. The wild die, basically, you take whichever is more favorable. If you roll double 1s, you cannot re-roll, and essentially it is a critical failure. Otherwise, essentially anything beneath 4 is just a regular failure. What else can I tell you? On your character sheets, you're going to have hindrances. I'm going to look for you guys to role play against those hindrances. And the page number, if it's particularly relevant, is there for you to check out. So, for example, who am I looking at? Alex has got a couple of issues that she has to deal with. I'll throw one out as an obvious one, which is the Hippocratic Oath as a hindrance, right? It's going to hold her back from making a decision that would harm someone. And I'm
a pacifist.
Yes, exactly. So that's going to be, you're probably going to be the tank, I guess, in this adventure.
That must be.
What else? Edges and advances. You probably won't advance much. We're going to play 3 sessions, one kind of story. But edges do affect your roll. Like, for example, Alex has alertness. And if you click the gear, you'll be able to see what it is that does for you. And alertness case on page 37 will tell you +2 to notice rolls. So before you actually get into the thick of things, you're actually going to want to look over your character sheet, take a look at all that. I need to see what's going on with some of these backgrounds because I noticed that it looks like some of them are somewhat incomplete compared to what I have in my notes. So as a high level, Mike, what did I miss on the rules that we can't, if we're trying to go fast? I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, you got bennies, you got exploding die.
Did you talk about raises?
Yeah, so raises, a variety of things can happen with that. So if, since this is an automated die roller, I'll just do it for you. But if you roll the highest result on a die, so a 6 on a 6, for example, that die rolls again and keeps going until it stops exploding. If you're James Payne playing Mordred in the Vile Dawn campaign, you roll things like 50 on a d6 roll or whatever. It's sick. In combat, that can give you bonus damage. And there are a variety of other things that raises can do for you. In some cases, if it's just amazing, you may wind up getting a Benny. The other thing is I have my book here. What else, Mike? Jordan?
I think that pretty much covers the high-level rules for sure.
Okay. I think so. I would
would you talk about taking damage and soaking and things like that?
Yeah. So real quick on bennies. So you can re-roll a trait check, which would be any skill check or attribute check. You can recover from being shaken. So if you, let's say you're hit, you're shot. Your toughness is 5. If the damage exceeds that toughness, then you're going to be shaken. If it exceeds that toughness and doubles it, basically you are then going to take a wound. If you are shaken already and you take any damage beyond your toughness, then you take a wound. So that's kind of how this works, right? Is you get to 3 wounds and then you're done. So you can recover from being shaken by spending a Benny or by making a spirit roll. You can spend the Benny pretty much right away, but the spirit roll has to be done on your turn. So if in that same example, Tara, if you were shot and you were shaken, you winged, you're kind of bleeding a bit, whatever, you're not able to act, but then you decide to spend a Benny, because everybody starts a session with 3, then you would immediately recover from that shaken result. Otherwise, you're just like, I've been shot. Oh, how horrible. You can also use a Benny to soak a wound. So if you are actually shaken and you are going to take a wound, then you can spend a Benny to try to soak that wound. So it gives you an opportunity to roll to see if your character just absorbs it. So again, example, if you're shaken, you get shot again, you're going to take a wound, you can spend that Benny, make a soak roll, and maybe it doesn't hurt you. Otherwise, 1 wound. You can also draw a new... What?
Is the Benny die such that it drops the wound by 1 for every pip, or how does that work?
So yeah, basically you would, you can soak 1 wound generally. So if you look on page 96, if you have the book, it'll talk about soak rolls. And I think it's actually, if you get a raise, that's an example of where you see, Jordan, if you looked at that, pretty sure. Yep, if a character soaks all the wounds from an attack, yes, you can actually raise and take, soak all of your wounds. But that's only if you're raised, right? Probably won't get into a whole lot of long-term combat. PowerPoints, you can reroll damage as well. or you can spend a Benny to influence the story. And this is going to be really important, and I would love to see you guys actually use it this way. If you hear the story go in a certain way and you think you'd like to add some complications to it, you can spend a Benny, throw in your 2 cents, and we'll see where it goes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, love it.
Except Jordan, because Jordan did something weird. Stressed me out.
I'll definitely do something real weird.
Yeah.
It definitely stressed us out.
Nice. Okay. I think that gets us to a point where all of us have characters. I think we're ready to tell at least the first bit of the story. You guys okay with that?
Sure.
Do it.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. I actually thought we'd yammer on about the rules for a while, but I forget this. The rules in this book are literally like that much of it, and the rest is, I don't know, pictures and stuff.
Well, I'll just say, I figured we'd pick it up while we play.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
listened in. But yeah.
Okay. What I wanted to try to do, because you tend to get into these things and sidebars and whatever, I try to keep it nice and tight once we get going. This music's freaking me out. Okay. So all of you are obviously students at East Texas University. It's been a particularly stressful semester, and finals have just come to a close. And then you can kind of decide for yourselves how successful or not so you've been in college. That will help the story to some degree. But one thing's for certain, you're all completely stressed out. I'm going to assume that you're actually juniors in university. With the exception, I think, of, I'm sorry, Dan's character. I got to get my names up. I don't have it. Alex?
Alex.
Yeah. With the exception of Alex, who's, let's say, first-year med student and just crushing it, but completely stretched thin. So you get this incredible text from a friend of yours named Johan. And attached to that text is a PDF of a ticket to an EDM concert, one that you have been dying to go to all your life, and you sort of talked it up. And man, when this semester's over, we're all going. All of you receive similar texts. One of them's like a selfie with Johan there holding up the tickets. One of them is like, an actual video. So Johan left university last year and has since just been driving around God knows where. And every now and again he checks in, but he has bought you all tickets. And so we find ourselves at your favorite bar for the first little snippet here, talking about this and comparing notes when you realize that all of you are going to this concert. Jordan, what is the concert called?
Oh, I'm really excited about this. Okay, hold on. I need to ask a question. Is it a single artist performing, or are we in a festival situation?
No, it is a 3-day EDM festival.
Oh, then it's definitely called Hot Cheese Lettuce Fest.
Excellent. So HCLF is so you guys all have tickets. And Tara, who's your favorite artist that is playing HCLF?
Oh man, this is a really tough one, man. There's so many great, hard performers out there, I don't know. I think I gotta say Savage Force, I gotta think Savage Force is my favorite artist.
Savage Force is amazing.
The lyrics, man. It's all about the writing. Yes,
I think Savage Force, right, is the one techno metal band that's there, right? And so there's it's and I think Johan is just so stoked to be there with you as well, right? He's just like, yeah, man, you bonded around this. So then, just tell me something, Alex. Why are you going to take a break, Dan, from your studies to go do this? Like, why would you, as prim and proper and focused as you are, why would you take a break and go do this thing?
Oh no, Jason, you got the wrong idea. You all gonna party. I'm taking my book with me. See, I plan to study in the outhouse while you all take your whatever it is.
Nice. So you're there, ever the studious and focused on anatomy and all these things, and you're taking a particularly challenging class. So yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm getting extra credit for the fecal samples I'm going to be taking out of the outhouses. Professor Amack said that if I could bring a large selection of local infections via sampling, of course, that he'd give me an extra 0.5 on my 4.0.
You are
already got goosebumps.
4.5 to average in. You got to work the numbers.
that is amazing.
Salmonella? What is that?
Oh, Billy, tell me something. What are you doing? Why are you so interested in going? And what's your vibe as you plan this trip?
Yeah, I mean, EDM has always sort of been my favorite music to help blend out the background noise while I'm writing up. Going to school for journalism, obviously, and but this is kind of twofold. Not only is my favorite EDM band, Rushing Rivers, going to be there, but I really want to write a piece on their newest band member after the previous synthesizer just disappeared, and it's been kind of a mystery. And so I want to go and see, maybe, hey, I could even get backstage and talk to one of these guys. But at the very least, they are the centerpiece of my final exam, really.
That is awesome. And this thing just runs itself, ladies and gentlemen. I love it. It's just yeah, so you're there, sitting in the bar, and so I got to get my head on straight. So Dylan, tell me what it is about Taylor. What does she know about you? What kind of dirt does she have on you? She's keeping it to herself.
Taylor? I don't know. What do you mean? What kind of dirt could Taylor possibly have on me?
I don't know. You tell me. What could it be? And is it true or is it not?
I mean, it's definitely true because I want to blog it.
It's probably true. Probably true.
So what did you do? Or what didn't you do, maybe?
Well, it might have been, the rumor is that it was me who pushed Principal Parker's Miata over the cliff after prom.
That is so hardcore. Did you? Do we need to know if you did it? What do you think? What would he say?
Like, I could do that all by myself. Come on.
Yeah. Understood. So Taylor.
I seen it. I seen her push it.
Which friend is it? Alex or is it Billy who has the hookup to your dealer?
Oh, definitely Alex, the med student.
Okay. Okay. So Alex and Taylor are begrudgingly just very good friends. What's that relationship like?
I think probably I'm always trying to get her to stop studying and come out and have a good time. But I'm thinking, just based on Taylor's love for video games, there must be some indulgence that Alex has. Some bond over some game or online activity where, when not studying, some sort of internet-based social event. Something is happening there.
What is it, Alex? What is it?
Yeah, Alex, what is it?
Well, you did hear me disclaim my great disappointment that it wasn't Swedish House Mafia playing, or Illenium, or Ibiza. I mean, what is this? Is this a cheese fest? This is like cheddar. This is just. So yeah, you know that if given the proper EDM, that I'm definitely there.
So it must be EDM forums then, Jason. Well,
Yeah.
So we've bonded over online EDM forums.
Like, I think you discovered at some point that Alex is actually like EDM Cat 405 or something that you ended up having some kind of thread with.
Definitely.
Love it.
Well, we all know I'm the Michael Corleone of the Swedish House Mafia. I mean, you know.
Alex, who did you save with the defibrillator?
Forgive me, I get confused with the names. Who's the wrestler again?
That is. Hang on a second. Let me hover over and Dylan.
Dylan, yeah.
Yeah, if you hover
that
over
one
the
of us
heads,
that-
it'll pop up on you.
All right, then I was Dylan. I saved with the defibrillator.
What happened?
Well, Dylan took something from somebody besides Taylor and my dealer. I don't know who it was, but I gave him an anti-narcotic and then the pads after that wrestling match, and he popped up like a daisy. Thought we lost him there for a second.
And yeah, nice. Okay, so you saved Dylan's life, and maybe you don't let him forget it. Maybe you do. Billy. And there's only who among the female characters, whose boyfriend fathered the child that you're bearing? You haven't shared it.
I haven't.
But baby.
It's actually Alex's boyfriend. Alex works long hours and is obviously often at the hospital. And so when he was feeling lonely and I had late papers, we'd meet up at a coffee shop and we just write until the middle of the night and make small talk. And, one night it was particularly cold, particularly lonely. And we made a mistake.
Nice. So I'm going to assume that you've learned this news recently, and so it's heavy on your mind, and it's possible that maybe later in the game we might have someone notice that you're not drinking, or maybe you're not yourself. So I picture you just laughing and having a good time. Maybe you're getting like a soda water with a lime, so it kind of looks like your regular jam. Yeah, you guys are talking about this concert. Whose car are you going to take, and why?
I kind of feel like maybe we're taking all the characters that are on screen are going with us, right, Jason?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're taking Lindsay's car, right? So she kind of gives me rich girl vibes, and so she definitely has got the nicest car out of all of us, I'm thinking.
Yes, she does, as a matter of fact. And it's got to be big enough to hold all of you guys. I'm thinking it's like an Escalade or something, some kind of.
Oh yeah,
right.
Oh yeah, it's got to be an Escalade.
Nice.
And a white one. It's got to be a white.
It's a white Escalade. Nice. So yeah, she's absolutely 100% ready. She's just, when you're talking to her, it's like, well, obviously we're taking my car. I mean, who's going to fit in a Prius anyway? Right? So
I didn't the rest of us had cars.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe you don't.
I have a Jeep, obviously.
There you go. It's just like I could just picture him with like these giant arms, like driving around like Grape Ape. So
Never have the doors on, not even in the winter.
So you guys drink till the bar closes. Go your separate ways. A couple of days later, you're all packed up. Got all your belongings stowed in the back of the white Escalade. Lindsay's there. Sam Bricado's there. Bricado's particularly quiet, socially awkward, always on his laptop, always working and writing code, starting and stopping SQL Server and other things that we coders do.
Leave it.
You depart and find yourselves driving out in the middle of nowhere because from East Texas, you've got to drive through West Texas and even further because, ladies and gentlemen, this festival you're going to is close to Vegas. It's just outside of Vegas. So the next scene, the camera kind of flies in behind this white Escalade. What's the music that's blasting? Tara, what's the song?
It is absolutely Canardian Thunder.
Nice. So I'm not going to play it because I don't want to get copyright claimed, right? But so you're driving, and it's probably 1:45 in the morning. You left late. You've been stopped for food. You're driving along. You notice Lindsay's getting kind of sleepy. I'm going to need you guys to give me a couple of vigor checks, please. Let's break some dice in. Open your character sheet, click the vigor button. There you go. Oh, nice.
Hate to see it, Jordan. It sounds like you playing D&D in a beanbag chair.
You ain't wrong.
There's Dan's. So we'll see here the wild dice saved both Billy and Alex. And we see a double 1. So snake eyes, right? Anytime you roll snake eyes, that is a critical failure. So, and Tara, is it no work for you? Or did I miss it?
I could not hear what you just said.
Oh, which? I don't see your roll in there. Is it coming?
Am I whispering?
So if you go to...
a click vigor, then what happens?
It should give me a roll.
Yeah, there's like a little dice on the,
to the left
left-hand side.
It's didn't I click on that?
There it goes.
There it is.
Okay,
Got
I didn't click
it.
far enough left.
All righty.
Okay.
So we have a failure. Let's take Dylan first. So Dylan,
Rude.
I think you've got to be sitting. Well, for one, if any of you want to roll bennies except for Jordan, you can. This session should be short. That would allow you to re-roll any failure. Anybody who had wild dice over 5 would succeed, though. So Tara, if you wanted to spend a benny, just click the re-roll button inside the chat window of Roll20, and it'll just re-roll.
I hate the software. Jesus Christ.
It's Taylor. It is Taylor. All right.
Where's the chat?
It's
There it
little
is.
icons. Yeah, little icons at the top.
There it is. I will do it.
There, whoa,
Yay.
there we go. So the Benny saved you. Not only that, but you, because you got a raise. So I'm going to assume you're incredibly alert. Why? Why are you so damned alert? I mean, you were on fire kind of alert.
I'm psyched. I'm hoping Kelly's going to be here.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're just super stoked. You're wide awake. I'm going to assume that you notice Taylor. Notice Taylor passing out, but you're not really sure why. She's sitting there, just kind of like her head's bobbling. Taylor, why did you fail? What did you take?
I took a little too much of that good stuff. You know what I'm saying?
So like
The
a
good
whole
stuff.
bunch of NyQuil PM or something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know. It was a rock substance, and some guy in gym class told me there's no gym in college. in my history class,
It's advanced
told
gym.
me that if I like chew on it enough, then I will see God. And I was just like, I'm definitely seeing God on the way to Hot Cheese Lettuce Fest.
Yeah. So you're bobbling around. I'm going to assume you're in the passenger seat, and I'm going to say,
sure.
I think Dylan, I'll get, when I can see the names up there, I'll be better. Dylan, you notice her head bobbling along, and she's starting to kind of drool a little bit.
I'm also really into I can't even say the name, Kandarnian Thunder, the song that's playing.
You're just eyes roll back in your head. Like,
So
yeah.
it's like, I'm jamming.
Then, yeah. So you're bobbling around. You notice this. It's not good. She seems like she might be about to get sick or something. You're not really sure.
Hey, Taylor. I kind of like reach over and grab the wheel and say, hey, maybe you should let me drive.
Well, Lindsay's driving. She's next to Lindsay in the passenger seat. But yeah,
Okay,
you
that's
reach
really
up.
funny if she does grab it while Lindsay's driving and say, hey, Taylor.
So Lindsay's like, oh,
sorry.
what the fuck, Taylor? Come on, what are you?
Taylor. I like. I like smack her cheek lightly and like pat her on the shoulders and, hey guys, I think Taylor's gonna get sick. She's starting to retch back here.
If that bitch pukes in my car, we are done.
Let me see.
I reach across Taylor and I roll the window down.
It's the Docs Lamines plus Nate. She's quilling. Here, 1 second.
She's chilling with the quilling.
I reach into my vest I have with 1,000 pockets and pull out a small white bag of powder. I put a little up her left nostril. And
nice.
I close her right nostril and hold her jaw shut.
So you're there. She's drooling all over you. What's going on with you, Billy? What are you doing back in the back?
Yeah, Billy's all the way in the back trying to get the sort of heart of her paper written so she could spend more time at the festival. And with the glare of the screen on her face, and she's got one earbud in, she's really not sure what's going on up there. And she sees some of the commotion. She kind of pops her head over and closes her lid halfway to get rid of the glare. But they seem like they've got it. And so she goes back in to try to get the last of this done.
Yeah, so Bricato's there next to you, and you notice he's got what looks to be some sort of, for those who are familiar, sort of JavaScript or whatever up, and he's kind of debugging, and as you move, he kind of catches attention, and he just looks at you and shakes his head, and just kind of goes back to his work as well. Who did I miss? Taylor's out. All right, so I'm going to need... out the front, and then that's you. So Alex, give me please a notice check. It's going to be at -2.
Oh, me? Sorry.
Yeah. You're like,
so sorry. He's like, it's like, huh?
You're like,
where do I find notice on my
notice
sheet?
is down in the skill section on the left hand column. Just scroll down. You'll see notice.
Now I have alertness. Is that automatically added in?
+2, so that would negate the penalty. So just roll it natural.
Okay. Do I just click the button?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Most days, anyway. Depends on roll 20 thinks here.
I see it.
Yeah, there it is. It came through. Why did it not come through in the? Hang on a second. Let me scroll down. That's why. Oops.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
if you hold
the stream view.
cursor on the bottom, I think it stays in the bottom.
Yeah. So you notice as you're driving along, you're trying to roll the window down. You've got your finger up at Taylor's nose, and she's just kind of bobbing and drooling. She starts to vomit. And just as you notice it's coming, you say, Lindsay, on the other hand, gives this completely petrified look on her face as the vomit is welling up in Taylor's mouth. You notice this before the rest. What do you do?
Oh, Taylor, not again. I grab her by her fleece and pull her head towards the window. See the vomit outside. And I face her towards away from the wind.
Yes, and thankfully you've got oh God, sorry.
Dylan's already rolled the window down.
Yes, Dylan has rolled the window down.
Pretty hefty.
Yes. So you sling her over. I'm going to need an agility check. Let's see, because she is completely just like a dead body.
I already rolled the window down.
You did. Yeah.
Can I get assistance from Dylan on that?
Sure. So
how do we do that?
So go ahead and both make an agility check. So Dylan is assisting. If you're successful, I'll give you +2, which won't be necessary.
Oh, it looks like it's succeeded.
Yeah. So between the two of you, you're able to kind of just flip her head over without bashing it into the door frame. She's just the powder on her face. Vomit just starts to kind of roll out of her mouth, and then something horrible happens. Lindsay, who's reaching across, no, you did not, flips the vehicle.
Oh, no.
As you're driving, everything slow, and just everything freezes as the vehicle tumbles. First, Sam, his laptop screen is splitting his head wide open next to you, Billy, as it tumbles and smashes. Lindsay, as it basically the first flip, the front glass breaks. Her body slides out as it rolls over and tears her in half, spraying in trails across the road in the broken glass and the sea of blood. The rest of you, as you're bashed around and slamming, you have no idea what you're hitting, but you all are shaken as there's a sudden silence. You can hear from a cracked speaker the of that song that was playing, trying to come out of the speaker.
Has the car come to a rest?
It has. You hear the sound of flame. There's maybe obviously little pieces of debris that are still following and settling and that sort of thing. And there's also the sound of liquid right there next to your head, Alex.
Does it smell like gasoline?
It does.
Is Taylor still in one piece?
You look around. You don't see Taylor.
I grab Dylan. I say, we're the only ones left in the front seat, correct?
So Dylan would be, yeah. So yes, you guys would be in the actual, the first row back seat. So 3 rows, right? So there's the two.
I grab Dylan and I start backing out the window and I yell, get the fuck out of the car. It's going to get on fire any second.
Give me a quick agility check, please.
Okay. 10 and 4.
Nice. So you're able to, despite an incredibly twisted ankle, no real, well, let's say superficial wounds. You're bleeding all over the place. And you kind of crawl out the window and are able to get off to the side. You do notice that your clothes are actually soaked in gasoline. You're very lucky as you distance yourself. Dylan, you hear this. You respond to this.
I'm still. Am I in the back seat still?
You are. You're sort of crumpled. It looks like you've come up and down, so your head is kind of down in the footboard. There's blood everywhere.
Can I see anybody?
Your eyes kind of fade in and out. It's like you hit your head pretty hard. Your ears are ringing. You see. It looks like Alex. You see feet moving out. You look and you see as well Billy. Covered in brocado. The sort of top of his head has just been ripped off and is kind of in brocado's lap. And then, of course, the rest of him is sprayed across. But as you look, Billy kind of, she's alive. Or he's alive.
What about Alex? Alex is moving?
Yes. Wait, I'm sorry. Who the hell is Alex? Oh yeah, Alex just climbed out of the window. So Alex is I'm sorry. You also smell gas.
I wish that we would change our names in Zoom so I can know who everybody is. Okay, so I'm gonna try and grab Billy and climb out and pull Billy with me if I can.
Okay. Give me an agility check. Let's see if you could get yourself oriented, and then I'll need a strength check to kind of help get Billy out. While you're doing that, we come back to Billy. You open your eyes, and the first thing you see there, kind of in your lap, is the upper bit of Brocado's head, kind of there, one eye staring off oddly. And you were just completely. Give me a spirit check.
Yeah.
Nice. And then do one as well while you're in there for strength, Tara. And for you, you're just like I picture his arms all bristled. So you as you reach out, Dylan, to grab Billy, you notice that your pinky finger is just completely dislocated. That seems to be your worst injury, but it's really gross to look at. It's probably happened before as a wrestler. So as you're there, so how do you hold it together? How do you get through this without just completely melting down?
I think part of it is shock for sure. I mean, like, it's hard to process everything that's just sort of happened, but also as an investigative journalist or a new journalist, even, like, sometimes you see some things you really don't want to see. And so she's certainly not a doctor and having cut people open, but I think she's seen some tough stuff. And so part of her mind is like unable to really connect the relationship here, and is really just more in that desensitized mode of like, I've seen this kind of stuff before, but it's more important for me to get out of here.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you're kind of looking at that and starting to kind of understand what's happened, at which point, God, I really got to see his name. Dylan, sorry, reaches out and starts to pull you forward. And you find yourself kind of coming out of your moorings there, the seatbelt and so on. Long story short, those of you who were still in the vehicle are able to get out of the vehicle just as the flames start to kind of lick up all over. You suddenly hear this whoosh sound as you glance back, realizing you've got to move further away. You don't see Taylor. You're looking around. What do? I assume you gather kind of near the roadside or just panicked, the scene being what it is.
Look around for Taylor. Any sign of Taylor?
Give me a notice check. You guys fan out and search?
Yeah. Billy obviously knows what happens to Sam, but didn't see what happened to Lindsay. And obviously Taylor is gone as well. So she's sort of looking for either of those two people.
Okay. So Alex, we have Billy's, Dylan. So Dylan, sadly, you find Lindsay as you're kind of looking around. You're like, oh my God, I see someone's there. And you sort of look and realize, okay, that's the remains of a friend. Obviously, this is a whole lot. And you kind of your inner rage maybe coming out. How do you react to that when you're hoping you'll find Taylor and you see that scene?
I probably scream and drop to my knees. I scream her name.
So I can see it, right?
I just kind of lose my mind for a second.
So the camera's like over your shoulder and you're kind of like, and there's this scene, and the flames are just kind of starting to bud around. Obviously, that's going to be a problem here shortly. Alex, we'll get to you in a second. Billy, you actually find Taylor's phone. It's a brand new, it's this fantastic gaming phone. It's like a phablet. It's like this big.
Right.
Yeah. It is just completely destroyed. So that's what you find. Alex, you do find Taylor. Somehow, thanks to her being completely unconscious and limp, she was ejected from the vehicle and has rolled. Her cheek is pretty cut, like really bad, kind of back to her jawline. But she's all right. She's stable. You can see her teeth, which you're going to need to take care of at some point. But she's all right otherwise. What do you do when you walk up on her?
The first thing I do is check to make sure that she doesn't have a spinal injury quickly so that I can move her. And then I check to see if she's vomited and might be choking on her own vomit. Make sure she's breathing.
Fantastic. Why don't you give me, let's use healing. Okay, so yeah, you look her over following protocol, right? You remember this really well, and it's crazy how fast it kicks in. Your adrenaline's way up here. You look her over, she seems somehow okay. She's beat to hell. She's going to be bruised, sore, cut, but she is stable. She's bleeding a lot out of the wound on her mouth. She's going to need a Band-Aid or something.
Need a plastic
link
surgery.
in the description below.
Right. I'll tend to her. Are we on the roadside? Is it obvious where we are?
So as you're kind of looking around, you're accelerated breathing, covered in her blood from her head rolling around. She's starting to kind of come to even. It's almost as if the trauma shook off whatever high she had going on. So you look around, and is this quintessential Hills Have Eyes desert style road. 2 lanes, nothing that way, nothing that way. And give me a quick notice check, but this one's going to be it'll be straight for you because you've got the awareness. Give me a notice check. something's kind of strange. You're not sure if maybe something's gotten into your head. Maybe you hit your head real hard, but the sky looks different. Like more time's passed than it should have. As you were cruising along, last you recall, those stars should be kind of like, yeah, something's not right. The moon's in a different spot.
I open up that little box in my soul that knows that there were over 200 Escalade rollovers last year alone, and that in about 20 years the world's going to fry. And I put that in there too, and I close it down tight. And I stuff it way down deep, and I try and pull. If I'm on the road, I try and pull her off the road.
Okay, she is just off the road. She's kind of near this sort of cactus, big ass, giant, kind of desert cactus. As if they're other kind of cactus. I don't know. Don't spend a lot of time with them. Taylor, so think about this just like you were having a great time and things got quiet. And then the dreams came and it was just like you were in a clothes dryer. And now suddenly as you're kind of coming to and things are very foggy, you feel a lot of pain in your face, your shoulders, all over. Like you've literally tumbled out here. You're covered in, you got dirt in your mouth, and Alex is like all up in your grill. What do you do?
Do I see anybody but Alex out of my peripheral? Because I think the first thing I would do when I open my eyes would be I would do like a quick darting, like what are my surroundings?
Yeah, you kind of darting and looking around, and it's sky. You're not in a vehicle anymore. You can taste blood and dirt and maybe a little grass. And Alex is over you, covered in her shirt's covered in blood.
Do we have a name for Alex and the dealer that Alex hooked me up with?
I don't know. Do we?
Let's call him Charlie.
Let's call him Charlie. That's the episode title, ladies and gentlemen. Let's call him Charlie. Okay, got it.
We agreed to a different title for this episode, which maybe at one point we'll get to.
Yeah, Spooky Poop. Is that what it was?
Spooky Dookie.
Yeah, Spooky Dookie.
I can't shit my pants if they're on my head. I think that's what. Anyway, I look at Alex and I say, "What the fuck did Charlie give me?" And I'm like, my eyes just like roll up because I honestly have no idea what's happened. I just assume that I've had the worst high of my life, and that I just went on this crazy ride where I thought I was in a dryer, and now everything in my body hurts, and I'm assuming this is some effect of like an overdose or something.
Well then, Alex?
Hun, I don't have a test kit with me or anything, but it looks like sussnate to me. Are you sure you didn't chug a whole 12-pack of Quill?
I'm not sure of anything, bitch. My head is spinning.
And as you say that, you find you can open your mouth a little wider than you normally would. You're like, bitch. And you feel kind of almost like wind going in your mouth from the...
Taylor, keep your hands off your face. You've got a wound.
I definitely was trying to touch it. Without a doubt, as you say that, I'm definitely trying to...
Don't touch it.
Ow.
So I think at this point, they're having an argument, right? They're going back and forth. Both of you would hear this. You hear Taylor's voice elevated, calling someone a bitch. That's not unusual. What do you guys do?
So Billy, having found Taylor's phone and it's all busted up, she immediately started looking for her own phone, and remembering that it's in the car with her laptop. And so she's got nothing. And once she notices the sort of Alex assessing the triage going on with Taylor, she probably put her hands down on her stomach and check for abdominal wounds, to see if maybe everything is okay. Does she have any heavy bruising or God forbid anything sort of sticking into her gut?
So you have healing on the off chance?
Do not.
You cast a heal spell? Okay, fine. So let's use smarts. Smarts at -2. just for basics. Yeah, so Wild Die hates you because you rolled a 2. But yeah, so you feel your abdomen. You don't feel any crushing pain there. You do feel like maybe a bruising of the rib. It's all sort of superficial. You're cut all over. Little cuts,
Sure.
kind of larger ones. Nothing that won't heal on its own, and nothing that really you think needs stitches.
She's more concerned about the pregnancy that obviously nobody else knows about.
Yep.
And okay, so nothing around the belly button or anything like that. It's all.
No, you don't think so. And just the way that Brocado came in, it was almost like he patted you somehow. You very,
Sure.
As far as you know, you're very lucky. But you obviously would want to go to the hospital, right?
Yeah, for sure. So she's gonna carry that panic a little bit, but breathe a sigh of relief. And once she feels everything sort of moving, she's gonna go over to see Taylor, listening to her call Alex a bitch.
Yeah. Okay. So you move over out. You sort of walk past Dylan, and Dylan is there, just like, what does he see? Or what is God damn, I'll get this right. What does Billy see as he walks up on you?
Lindsay's the one that got torn in half, right?
Yes.
So after my initial shock and grief, I am vomiting. I'm just like retching to the side. Are both pieces of her there?
Yes. One of them slid. One of them was pinched under the car. And so that's the one that you're seeing. The other one slid kind of away. Near enough that you can see it. And it's sort of illuminated in what's left of the headlight that's kind of hanging there, the LED headlight.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I'm just retching. Don't come over here.
So you see this,
Don't look.
of course.
Don't look.
Yep. Billy takes like a step and then okay, and then goes off this way.
Yeah. So you notice, of course, Alex is leaning over Taylor. She obviously was thrown off to the side. She's lying there somehow, no worse for the wear. There is a little bit of a blood streak on the pavement that she obviously slid through, probably like a really bad skin area on her rear end, maybe.
I found your phone.
New episode candidate. That's a thing. I found your phone.
I think that the candidate should be with which half am I speaking?
Yeah. God, this is horrible. So, Taylor, you see Billy lean in and looking at you. Said, present your phone. How do you react to that?
I just do this smile, but because of the situation with my face, I think just like a part of my face just kind of flaps awkwardly in the wind as I'm trying to smile.
Yeah, Billy tries to hide the look of just, but it's probably pretty well written on her face.
Yeah. So you're all gathered there as you kind of you look this scene. I'm going to assume Dylan, you're there. Don't. He walks past you, goes to check out Taylor. You're still there when the fire really starts to just. You can see it kind of starting to encompass the vehicle. The vehicle is completely destroyed anyway, but now all of a sudden you get the impression that it may go boom.
I cannot bring myself to touch what's left of Lindsay. But I say, like, wipe my mouth on my shirt, and so we got to get out of here. We got to get away from this car. Who needs help walking? Is it just Taylor?
So yeah, you're not really sure. So I'm assuming I probably should put on a map on there. You're probably about 15, 20 feet away from the scene. As you're standing, wiping your mouth, you realize it. Like when I mentioned it's going to blow up, it's going to blow up now. So I'm going to take an athletics check. You're like, we got to get out of, and then you instinctively try to dodge away.
You want athletics from all of us or just
No,
Dylan?
just Dylan. He's
Did it go?
No. There it goes.
There we go.
So you have one Benny left because you spent one earlier. Would you like to use it, or you want to let that stand and
No,
explore?
I want to live.
Damn. Oh, nice. So what does this look like as you escape the sudden burst of flame?
Very slow-mo, limbs akimbo with my pinky at an odd angle, which you can see in the screen.
Nice. Yes. I love it. So there's just like classic 80s explosion, like, oh,
Yeah.
kinda.
Swimming in the air.
Where do you land? Do you land kind of right there next to them?
Yeah, I probably knock somebody over.
Nice. So I think just as you've arrived, Billy, you're like, I see your phone, and then in comes Dylan, which will conclude this scene and the intro to our horror short story. When we pick up next time, you have to figure out where you go from here.